Hello and welcome to the Emirates Arena in Glasgow for the final of this year's Scottish Open between two of snooker's finest. Shaun Murphy, a Triple Crown winner who up until this week had never made it past the last 16 of a home nations event, up against the Masters champion Mark Allen, who by his own admission shouldn't even be here today. Two players with very similar attacking styles, but both with one thing on their mind, and that's at some stage tonight to pick up a cheque for £70,000 and this, the Stephen Hendry Trophy.
I want to end the year the right way.
Mark Allen looks in supremely good touch.
Whatever happens this week has turned my year around.
Shaun Murphy playing absolutely brilliantly.
I want to go out there and give him my best shot and give myself a chance to win the tournament.
Mark Allen, be a joy to watch when he's in full flow.
Being in the final is a massive, massive bonus for me from where I've been this year.
He clearly is buzzing.
I just have a different sort of mindset now. Always staying positive.
He's shown his trademark resilience here.
Snooker isn't about how hard you can hit somebody, it's about how hard you can get hit.
It'd be nice to get one over on them in a final.
Make no bones about it, we'll be shaking hands, we'll be trying to kill each other.
Yes, 8 frames this afternoon, and then they're back tonight for a possible 9 for the title of Scottish Open champion. Good afternoon, good to see you again. As always, I'm joined on the couch by the best in the business in Ronnie O'Sullivan, Jimmy White and Neil Folds. Lads, always great to see you on finals day, and I'll start with you, Neil. We really do have two wonderful players.
Yeah, we do, and funnily enough, they're coming here in different stages of form, aren't they? Because Mark's been in form for a long time. Is he playing as well as he was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago? I don't know, whereas Shaun looks to be peaking. He played brilliantly last night, and he started well, and Mark started badly, so it's a contrast on that score.
Jimmy, we know that these two are best of mates off the base. Is that difficult? Was it difficult for you when you would play the likes of Tony Mio or Alex Higgins?
It can be, but I think these guys, me and Tony Mio lived in the same area, so it's a bit different. If we got to a final, we'd save a holiday or something. They're having a hug there, and they've just met each other. Probably like tread on his toe or something, but no. Once you spin the coin, you want to win the trophy, so the friendship goes out the window.
And well, it's been a busy couple of weeks for Mark. Of course, this time last week he was playing you in the final of the UK.
Yeah, busy 3 weeks for him. Yeah, he's done tremendously well. To come from there straight here, and he's kept that great run going. Looked dead and buried yesterday, 4-0 down, and managed to turn it around. And, didn't just turn it around. He played some really good stuff towards the end. So if he can continue playing like that, he's going to be, he's going to be a tough man to beat.
He is indeed. We can actually hear from Mark Allen. He was speaking with Rachel Casey after that comeback against Daniel Wells yesterday.
Let's talk about your run through the tournament. We haven't seen you all the time on the TV table, and you've been getting through your matches easy enough.
I haven't played that well, apart from the match against Graham Dott, where we were on one of the outside tables. I was very happy to come through it because he's a tough competitor, but the rest of the week, been pretty much plain sailing. I've played okay and nothing special, but I've been pretty solid, and just the start of that semi-final is just one that I'd rather forget. Just absolutely pathetic before the interval, and I think my highest break was 21, so a little mini celebration in my own head in the 5th frame when I got to 30, thinking, oh, well, I beat 21. But it was embarrassing out there. I didn't play well at all the first 4, and I felt like I was sort of making it far too easy for Daniel, but I hung in there, and obviously the match turned really on a foul from Daniel when he touched the ball with his arm, and I managed to make a good break to go 5-3 and then finish the match off really well.
I cannot believe you've not met your good pal Shaun Murphy in a final before.
No, I'm looking forward to it. He's had some good wins here this week, and he's been struggling for form of late, so nice to see him back where he should be, competing for these tournaments, and it'd be nice to see him get a runners-up spot this week. He is a phenomenal player, and there was no doubt in my mind that he would get back to winning ways soon enough. It's just it's hard whenever you're on a bad run, because it sort of snowballs, and the same thing goes whenever you're playing well. You win matches that you never would win normally, just because of the confidence of winning. I want to end the year the right way. I want to go out there and give it my best shot and give myself a chance come tomorrow night to win the tournament. But look, I've had a good 18, so I can't be too hard on myself if I don't win, but I'll be going out there giving my all.
Yeah, the head-to-head massively in favour of Shaun Murphy, 10-4 at the moment. Although Murphy's last win was in the German Masters way back in 2015. As Rachel quite rightly said, they've never met in a ranking final before, but they have played a best of 17 before. That was in 2008, round 3 of the UK, and Murphy won that 9-7. So, Ronnie, head-to-heads, what do they mean in ranking finals?
Yeah, he's 10-4 up on the head-to-head, so it's obviously like he seems to get the better of Mark. But I just think Mark's a completely different player since he won the Masters. You know, he was always a very, very good player, but now he's like a regular tournament winner, a regular big tournament winner, winning the International Open and Masters, and obviously final UK in the final. This different proposition there for Sean.
Neil, if Mark is going to win tonight, he's going to have a better start this afternoon than he had yesterday, isn't he?
Oh, I know. As he was saying there, he was terrible, really bad. You know, I don't know what happened here. I mean, I think the second one we're going to see, I cannot believe how far he missed that shot by, and if that doesn't affect a player's confidence. Look at this. I mean, I can't believe it. But he's good enough to turn it around, and he did. You know, I think Daniel Wells, as it happens, gave him a bit of confidence, thinking, well, maybe he's seeing the winning line. So he sort of worked that out, that his opponent was struggling, and that's what good players do. You know, but in general, you know, I think he's got. If he starts like that, then he could be 4-0 down again today, I think.
It was a tough match for him, actually, to go 4-0 and 5-2 down and still come back. He's going to take something from that, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, he'll feel a lot better. You know, I agree with Ronnie. Since he's won the Masters, he's become a complete all-round player. You know, he's very good tactical. He's a good scorer, and he's always confident. And when things go wrong for him, by the time he gets back to his seat, he's dismissed it. You know, which most champions do.
He's had a good run through, as you can see, some tough games in there. But he's having a chat with Chris Henry, who, of course, is in Sean Murphy's corner. What do you make of that, Ron?
Yeah, listen, I don't know how good friends they are. Let's even get the balls out from as well. I don't know how good friends they are, you know, but sometimes I think, you know, a lot of these guys on the circuit, they chat to each other, but it's a superficial kind of relationship. That's why, me personally, I'd rather just keep myself to myself, because business is business, friendship is friendship, and the superficial stuff I don't buy into. But I think Sean and Mark are generally good friends. So yeah, you just got to kind of take it as you want.
What do you make of that, Neil? Because of course Chris Henry used to coach Mark Allen at the World Championship.
He's not coaching him now, though, is he? I mean, I agree with Ronnie. You know, I mean, is it just nerves on all sides, just babbling away because they're all nervous? But you know, I think that you've got to keep your distance. You know, all the great players I've known have done that. You know, I mean, Steve Davies wouldn't get a nod out of him before a game, and Stephen, and you know, and Ronnie's the same. Why would you change it? You're playing a match against each other.
Okay. We've just heard from Mark Allen. We can hear from his opponent, Sean Murphy. He was speaking with Rachel Casey after his 6-3 win over Judd yesterday.
You've played lots of matches and you just about have the upper hand, Sean.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't really look into stuff like that. I mean, you know, listen, he's proved his worth winning the Masters last year. Doesn't get much better than that. Probably only the World Champs eclipses that. I've watched him sort of struggle with his game and make a few technical tweaks, and he was working with Terry Griffiths for a long time, then he wasn't, and now they're back together. And you know, just those little things behind the scenes can make all the difference, because you feel happier, you feel more content. I went and practiced with him there a few months ago up in his club in Antrim, and he was saying to me, do you know, I can't seem to get a win. I can't seem to play well in a match. Well, he won the next tournament. Then he got to the final of the next one, and he's just been on a mad run ever since.
How much would it mean to you to win the Stephen Henry Trophy tomorrow?
It mean, for me, where my season's been, you know, the depths to which I sank in terms of my emotional state, where my game's concerned this year, in the certainly 7-8 months of 2018, it would mean a lot. It would be right up there, because I've been very low, trying to work out how things have gone, and you know, I made that call to Chris. You come back on board. I need your help. And he just, you know, dropped everything and came, and that's the sign of a real proper friendship. Snooker aside, Chris and Mark will always be in my life as friends, and I'm very lucky to have that.
Playing in his 20th year as a pro, 7 ranking titles to his name, playing in his 18th ranking final. Neil, what have you made of his form this week?
Very good last night. That was the first real sign, I think. I wasn't sure about him all week, because he's been just getting through. You know, he beat Curran, that was a good result. But honestly, I thought the first 3 frames against Judd last night, he played fantastic. I don't think you can play any better wherever you are, to be honest. And then he got a bit nervous at the end, and he got a bit lucky. You know, he played a couple of poor plants, second one he fluked. So he needed the line, you know, because he's not been winning. But I think he's playing well. He lost 4 ranking finals last year, you know. He was in 5 finals in total. Champion of Champions he won, but the other 4 he lost. So, you know, he can't keep on losing in finals, you know.
Jimmy does look nice and relaxed, having a laugh and a joke before the final.
Yeah, I think, you know, losing them 4 finals last year probably knocked his confidence, and it went into this season. That's why he's been struggling, but he's always practiced, he always prepares, right? And as most of us know, he's such a good player. Once he gets on a run, he's going to do well.
Ronnie, you've played Sean loads of times. What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses?
Obviously, great long ball putter, very fluent amongst the balls. Weaknesses, probably got a bit exploited last night when the balls get a bit open, a bit scrappy. He doesn't probably win as many frames as he could do. But I just think with Sean, you know, sometimes I think he doesn't mind losing. You know, and I think to be a real winner, you got to hate losing. And sometimes that's kind of you know, you got to build that from inside. And, you know, sometimes I just think he's happy just to be in the final, happy to be part of a great tournament. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're here to win, you know.
Do you think that's maybe the difference between what Chris Henry brings to the table?
Well, that's what I think has kind of maybe changed this week. It's like, you know, we're here to win a tournament. Let's get serious. Let's really tick all the boxes and you know, and be diligent in what you do. You know, and part of that is being really focused and just getting on with your job. And you know, and sometimes, you know, showing a bit of frustration if you miss, but you know, not allowing it to spill into the rest of your game. You know, Mark Allen gets fired up. You can see it in his eyes. I want to see a bit of that in Sean Murphy's eyes. You know, if he wants to become a real serial winner.
OK, boys, for the time being, we're going to have a quick break. And when we come back, we will have the first session of this year's final. We will see you right after. To get onto the bays, Jimmy, what's going to happen over the next 8 frames?
I think it's going to be a fantastic match. You've got two guys, you know, Mark Allen's at the top of his game. I think he's an all-round player. Sean's been one of the best for, you know, a good decade. So I think it's going to be an excellent match. And I think it's going to go to the wire. Yeah, well, the bookies tend to agree with you. There you go, 4-5 Mark Allen, 11-10 Murphy. So they can't tell them apart.
No, they're both slightly odds on. They can't work it out, and I can't either. I think it's going to be a terrific game. You know, I think that whoever gets through this far in these tournaments thoroughly deserve it. And as it happens, we've got 2 big winners. You know, so I think Murphy but I think it's going to be a terrific game of snooker. OK, boys, for the time being, thanks as always. You can see both players waiting to get into the arena, so let's keep them waiting no more and hand over to our MC.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the final of the Bet Victor Scottish Open here at the Emirates Arena in Glasgow. This is the final. It's the best of time now to meet the players. We begin with a player who produced a commanding performance over Judd Trump in his semi-final. He's a former UK and Masters champion and the 2005 champion of the world, the magician, Sean Murphy. His opponent, he came back from 4-0 down to win a thrilling semi-final 6-5 yesterday. He won at the Northern Ireland Open in Belfast last month. He's the reigning Masters champion, the Pistol, Mark Allen.
Got for the game. Our boys in the box for this one. Your commentary team are 5 times champion of the world, Ronnie O'Sullivan, alongside Philip Studd.
Thank you very much, Andy. The 10th ranking event final of this snooker season. And we've had 9 different winners so far. Who is going to lift that iconic Stephen Hendry trophy come this evening? The first to 9 will have that accolade. These 2 players, big friends off the table, spend most of the year mercilessly ribbing one another on social media, but on the table it's all respect. Who is going to prevail?
Mark, you want to shout? It's a tail, your choice. Sean Murphy to break.
Mark Allen invites Sean Murphy to play the first shot of the final.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Sean Murphy to break.
And I guess, Ronnie O'Sullivan, if you don't feel a few butterflies in the stomach right now, you're not going to be able to play your best. You've got to feel that tension, that pressure to produce the goods.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what happened to Mark Allen yesterday at the start of his semi-final. Probably a little bit flat, you know, and that's a recipe for disaster. You know, yes, you're definitely not going to play your best snooker, but yeah, these guys should be up for this today. I know Sean will be. Mark, there's probably a little bit more of a question mark over him because he's had such a fantastic season, and you know, in his mind he could be, you know, forgiven for thinking, well, you know, it's probably not that important if I win this. I think this probably means more for Sean's than it probably will for Mark at this stage. But you know, I think this is going to be a great match. You know, yeah, I think we know Sean's going to be all up for it. It's just how Mark gets out the blocks today. You know.
Last night's victory for Shaun Murphy over Judd Trump was surely his finest performance of the season. We know he's suffered no fewer than 6 first-round exits in ranking events, but goodness me, did he turn it on, particularly at the start. He blitzed Trump in the first 3 frames. 25 minutes it took him to lead 3-0. Got a bit more tense towards the end, inevitably, but helped by a fluke. He came up with a match-winning break for that 6-3 victory. For Allen, well, what a contrast from the first half of his match with Daniel Wells as opposed to the second. All at sea in the first 4 frames, 5-2 down, and then he produced the kind of snooker that won him the Masters, won him the International Championship this season. Back to his very best when it mattered at the sharp end of the semi-final.
One.
First blood to the pistol. This is Allen's 10th ranking final, going for his 5th title.
7. Eight.
Always like watching Mark Allen in these situations where reds are kind of covering each other. And they require little nudges here and there. I think he's probably up there with Ding. Probably one of the best nudgers in the game. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes about this break. Has a very economical cue action. Doesn't impart a lot of side on the ball, so gets a lot of pure striking on the ball. So watch this little cannon he plays into the reds here. Used a bit of cue power there, just to nudge a few out. Like I said, you know, a lot of players go into the pack and they want to smash every ball around the table.
See 2.
And sometimes I think, well, you only actually need to be on 1 or 2. It's kind of nice to just get a couple out at a time because you keep the table nice and neat. The more balls that go on the cushion are out in the open, you obviously have to navigate your way around them. And what I like about Mark Allen is that he just kind of nudges 2 or 3 out. And it's enough, you know, and when the opportunity presents itself to get a couple more out, he plays the right shot at the right time. And that's just a great all-round match play, you know. He, makes you a solid, good all-round player, basically.
29.
You said in the studio just now, Ronnie, that you feel as though he's a different player since he won the Masters. And that was a big deal for him, wasn't it? Because for so long he's been considered one of the best not to win a Triple Crown event. Now he's got that monkey off his back. He's got that extra belief that he can produce it in the very biggest events.
Bert.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always said that I think he's going to be a world champion. He has an unbelievable temperament, has a very, very good game, you know, and once you've got them, you know, you've got to be in with a sniff, because it's Sheffield's a completely different animal, you know. It's not about being the best player, it's about being the most consistent, the most efficient, and you're going to need a lot of courage and a good temperament, and he's got that naturally. That he doesn't have to work on that as well, so you know that's a department that he's strong in. So yeah, obviously winning the Masters was a great achievement for him, and I know it meant a lot to him, the way he celebrated afterwards.
36.
And obviously, you know, he's won the International Open, but yeah, he'll want to push on and win the biggest one of all now. And he's still only 31 as well. You know, a lot of people have been on the circuit a long time, and you're looking for who's the young ones around. And I think from 30, kind of late 20s to 30s, who's the best player out there? And you have to probably say that Mark Allen is probably the best all-round player in that age bracket.
One thing you certainly need to be a world champion in this sport is bottle, and Allen has never lacked that. It's instructive, isn't it, that when we got to the crunch yesterday, he produced his very best snooker. Daniel Wells scored just 14 points in the last 4 frames from 5-2 up. Allen finishing with his best break of the tournament so far, a 1-2-9.
Fifth.
Yeah, I think Mark's
51.
in that place at the moment where every match just feels like a practice game down the club. You know, whether he goes in front, he goes behind, you don't really care. You're just enjoying the game. You know you're playing well. You know that no matter how good your opponent is, once you hit a little groove, a little spot, your opponent's going to have to sit out and watch you do your business. So, you know, he's full of confidence, and that's where confidence comes from, is winning a lot of matches, playing well. And so, yeah, you can just see he's absolutely, like he's just down the club.
And what a contrast to the start of yesterday's match. Allen described
66.
his performance in the first 4 frames yesterday as pathetic. Well, this looks like being an opening salvo, which wins him the first frame of the final. Just the colour needed.
67.
The crowd know that was the key ball.
73. 74. 81. 82. 89. 90. 97. 98.
4th century of the tournament, the 37th of this season. Evidence of just how heavily he's been scoring.
104.
Such a quick score as well. This break at the moment, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So he scores very quickly as well.
110. Mark Allen.
I think we're in for a snooker slugfest. And round one emphatically goes to Mark Allen. A brilliant century to kick things off here in Glasgow. What a final we're in for. Allen leads 1-0. Well, that is the magnificent Stephen Hendry Trophy that these two great players are contesting today. And what a start from Mark Allen. 110 break. So the battle lines drawn early. In this, their 15th meeting, Murphy having won 10 of the previous 14, but Allen having got the better of Murphy in the last couple. This meeting is overdue, actually. Their last meeting was at the Players' Championship semi-final, a tournament that Allen went on to win, of course. He won 6-4, and just prior to that, the first round of the Masters, when Murphy was defending the title, that was a pretty dramatic match, also 6-4 Allen. Murphy actually forfeited a frame during that match, in failing to hit the object ball for a third consecutive shot.
Really surprised there that he didn't take that red on. He had a long straight red into the left-hand corner pocket as we look at the TV. Just had to stun it in, pot the blue, and there was a red at the back of the pack. So maybe he's set his stall out to not take any unpercentage shots on. Maybe he just thought, well, if I miss it, you know, I don't want to leave Sean in. So maybe he's trying to keep it tight. I don't know. But it's a shot you'd normally think Mark would go for.
Second prize, knowing he was on a colour, and he managed to sink the red, also knowing he had a snooker if he didn't.
This is a situation where Mark's immediate attention is to try and touch one of the reds by the black. There's 2 or 3 there. Because he knows if he hits one of them, it's probably 99% chance that he won't leave a red on. So he's played it plain ball. Looks to have a decent line now. A call and miss. Doesn't look like there's much damage done there, so I think Sean may be having his put back, unless there's a red that I can't see that's potable. But at least if it does put back, Mark's already got a good idea of the line and can make a slight adjustment. But he'll be trying to hit one of these 2 reds here just to nestle onto it.
Foul and a miss. Sean Murphy, 4.
Sean looking at this red in the middle. Nice confident pot. It's kind of like potting it into a half a pocket really from that angle. Managed to put enough power on the white to come out for the blue. Kind of natural angle that he had there just to kind of take the white in and out of bulk.
6.
if you don't time them shots right, you can overhit them or underhit them. So that type of shot is just about ball striking. You can't afford to do too much of that today. That's the one thing about Sean. Beautiful player, beautiful curious, but then he just makes an elementary mistake like that. He's got the game at his mercy, and he just seems to... I mean, you just should never, ever... And I'm not sure if he had a spring off the cushion, but you have to leave yourself a shot on the black there. He's created the opportunity, got it, and now, you know, looks like leaving the table with only making 7 points, and that just kind of... That'll be helping Mark Allen out, you know.
Sean Murphy.
Yes, Alan will certainly be delighted to be back at the table so early. He might have expected to be warming his chair there for the remainder of the frame, had Murphy got the desired position. Great crowd in today for the showpiece. Goodness me, that was a long way off. And he's got away with it. Normally so reliable with shots like that. Didn't hit that one well though.
Okay, that one.
That's not what Mark played. He was trying to leave the white tight on the brown, so he'd cover the red that's near the green, and then would have left that awkward queuing over the brown, which Sean should have been playing. So now he's kind of, what he's done there, he's put himself in trouble really, because if Sean can manage to get the red away from the bulk area, stun it in behind the blue, he's just chose to do that, which is okay.
Terrific return from Allen to get Murphy in bother.
Again, Sean will be looking to try and leave his white on this red. I'll take that back, because trying to leave his white on that red, I think the red by the black goes, so we can't see from our commentary box. But if it doesn't go, then he'll be trying to play on the red on the tight and the cushion to behind on the black cushion. But this is what we call a layup shot, so you just want to lay up on the ball. Try and nestle on top of it. Try and get some cover by just dropping onto it. Yeah, that red goes, see. So that shot's not really on, because if he does misjudge getting out of it, then he's highly likely to leave him that shot. So he doesn't really want to take that risk. So maybe he wants to... I don't know here. This is... I've seen the shot, but let's see what he does here. That's so risky. He's got away with that, but very, very risky.
A miss. Mark Allen 4. Yep.
Half a ball width slower, and Allen would have had an easy starter.
Yeah, they're horrible shots. You know, when you've got to play that with the right pace, it's really hard. You know, when you can't play a full shot. So sometimes you can easily underhit them, a little bit like sometimes when they're trying to roll up behind a bolt colour. Sometimes they move up short because it's not actually a full shot. So it's a difficult shot that Murphy's trying on here. But the one I like is if maybe you can get inside the blue, come off the bolt cushion, the side cushion, just past the yellow, and try and... So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 cushions, and hit the 2 reds that are just on their own there. But he seems to play that well. Nice shot.
I think Murphy has surprised himself with his renaissance this week after a pretty dismal season by his standards. Chris Henry, as we know, back on board, and Murphy has been talking about how he brought the old notebook over from when they used to be together, just to remind him of some of the things he used to do very well and perhaps he'd forgot doing. 1 or 2 technical tweaks, Murphy said, but mainly the change, in his words, was the 6 inches between the ears. It is such a mental game, isn't it, Ronnie? And your state of mind is so important.
Yeah, definitely. You know, if you're not thinking right, you know, you start to hinder your own performance. But I think the key to any mental side, the easiest way to sum it up is if you can find a way to enjoy it and just play freely out there. That's all any player is trying to achieve. And some people do that by being driven on to win tournaments. Some people do it just because they like to play the game. You know, so you have to find what floats your boat and what makes you tick. So I think that's kind of what Sean's done. You know, he's kind of re-established that relationship with Chris Emery, and straight away he's had massive benefits, and you can see just much more. You know, he's enjoying his snooker. When you're enjoying your snooker, you know, it's a great game.
Well, he's in here for the first time, or at least he's in here to score heavily. He hopes for the first time. He had a chance, of course, ran out of position early in the frame, but this is another really good chance to reply to Allen's century break in the opener.
Eight. $14. 50. 21. Two. 28. 29. 35. 36. 42.
'He's got such a confident walk around the table, isn't he, Phil? I mean, you wouldn't think this is someone that's had 6 first-round exits this season, struggling for confidence. All he wants for Christmas is a cue action. I think there's 127 players on the circuit that would love to have his cue action, and you know, he just kind of like he's just a beast around the table, isn't he? And you probably don't appreciate it live watching it on the TV, but he has a certain presence around the table, does Murphy?
You're right, he's got that swagger, hasn't he? Even when he's not
47.
playing that well, because he's such a good cueist, he always looks pretty good, even if he's not winning. But when he is beginning to feel good about his game again, as he is right now, of course, as you say, marching round the place as though he owns it, and that can be intimidating.
53.
He's never lacked self-belief, Murphy, that's for sure, even before he'd made it. But that's precisely the kind of error that Ronnie was alluding to. Perhaps just the odd lapse of concentration for Sean. No reason whatsoever to miss that on the cusp of clinching the frame. Well, that's gone horribly wrong straight away. There was still enough there for Alan to pinch it. Obviously needs a big colour though, and he's snookered. What a relief for Murphy.
Yeah, he'd be mightily relieved after that, you know. Frame winning ball. I can only put that down to just being a bit overconfident, just thinking that you can't miss and you take the shot for granted. And
Mark Allen,
you know, he's cueing so well that the pockets probably look like buckets.
3 shots in a row that both players will want to forget. Allen failing to get the snooker he desperately needed. He needs one now, and that surely seals the frame. So not quite clinical from Murphy, but the 53 break is enough
Murphy won
to level the final. So battle is joined in Glasgow. Both players have a frame on the board. The early nerves settled. Mark Allen won. Sean Murphy won here in Glasgow. We start to the Scottish Open final here in Glasgow. Welcome back. Mark Allen won. Sean Murphy won. Allen out of the blocks. Double fast with that century, 110. Murphy responding with 53. Not quite a frame-winning break. He missed frame ball, and it might have been costly. But Allen immediately ran out of position, and then in trying to get a snooker, failed to lay one, so it's one each. 2 more frames before the interval. 8 in this session. A possible 9 tonight. The first 2-9 to lift up the Stephen Hendry Trophy and collect a cheque for £70,000 and ranking points. And those ranking points will come in handy for Murphy, who's had precious little success this season with 6 first-round exits, and that, of course, means 6 tournaments where he went home without winning a cent. The upcoming World Grand Prix Players' Championship and the brand new Tour Championship for those top-ranked players on the one-year list require those points to be bagged, and Murphy could well do with a triumph today, quite apart from wanting to add to his ranking title tally. Nicely controlled swerve to pot the red.
1.
He plays that shot so well. He played one of them shots last night against Judd with a yellow, but it's just about... It's a bit like a golfer trying to control a fade or a draw. They know it's going to draw at probably 200 yards, maybe 5 yards to the right. No different at snooker. When you're bending the ball around another ball, you know it's going to kind of hit that spot, and then you want it to swerve. So, you know, it's not just a swerve, it's a controlled swerve.
7. $14. 15.
'We've seen some excellent snooker already from Murphy in this final. We've also seen some pretty glaring errors that he can't really afford against a player of Alan's calibre. Got away with it in the previous frame. What about this one?
One.
Two very different players here. Sean is more of a power sort of player, caresses the ball nicely. Mark probably doesn't have the same amount of cue power, but he does manoeuvre the white around just enough for him to be able to play 99% of the shots that need to be played. You don't have to smash the balls around 100 mile an hour. You see there, that little positional shot. Probably something Murphy
16
wouldn't find that type of shot as easy as Mark, you know, because Mark's used to playing them shots. But if you watch him around here, just little cannons, the white won't travel far, and he just nudges little balls out of the way.
They have very different styles in cueing, don't they, Ronnie? We talk about that exaggerated pause of Murphy's, whereas Alan doesn't possess that, does he? He just gets straight on with the cueing.
Yeah, he's very economical. Everything's just up and down the white. You know, he doesn't really put any side on it. He doesn't really use much wrist action. He doesn't try to hit the ball too hard. So there's not a lot that can actually go wrong with it. So it's very economical, but he manages to manoeuvre the white enough to be able to play all the shots that need to be played. So in many ways, he kind of has an advantage. If you watch this shot here. Again, nice little screw. He kind of like under-hit that one. Sometimes if he does kind of get a bit quick, he gets a bit jabby sometimes, but that's, you know, we all have our little things that we... don't like about in our game.
Yeah, he didn't clean that.
Mark Allen, 32.
Didn't cue that cleanly, I should say.
4.
Rattled in the pocket, nearly missed that red, and that's why he lost control of the cue ball into the pocket.
The bad shot was on the black before. You didn't actually get enough screw on the white. You know, wanted to be a little bit more further off the cushion. So that red there was a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. Can upset your mind. You think, well, I shouldn't actually be here. So you played a shot a little bit out of frustration.
Yeah, Murphy missed one from long range a little earlier by quite a distance, but he seems to be finding his touch now.
I think there's a red that goes that's just level with the pink, so we'll be aiming to try and put some backspin on the white here. Controlled backspin. There you go. Try and leave himself this red if he can. Not sure if any of them 3 reds go or they're all covering each other, but if that's the case, then he can maybe drop the red in, leave himself a nice little angle on the pink, which will be a natural angle to disturb them reds, virtually guaranteeing himself to be on one.
Bit of movement, I think, in Murphy's eye line, so sensibly getting up off the shot, resetting.
11. $17. 18. 25. 26. 33. 34.
So it's all about position on that last somewhat awkward red. That's all he needs.
41.
And he's missed it. Well, that is the second time that Sean Murphy has missed frame ball. 41. The previous frame, it wasn't costly. Murphy looking perplexed that that stayed out, but he's overcut it. What a chance for Allen to steal.
He's got really lucky there. He totally mishit that red. He's managed to stone it in the middle.
These are the frames that always feel that bit more significant. Both players having had chances. Murphy, golden opportunity
7.
there. All he needed was the red. He can't believe it stayed out. And now he's at the mercy of Mark Allen mopping up these colours for a significant early frame in this final.
10. $40. 19. 25. 32.
No bother from Mark Allen. He clears the table to steal a frame. He looked like losing. Sean Murphy had the frame ball red, and he thought he potted it, but he jawed it, and Allen has punished him. That'll hurt Murphy. Allen leads 2-1. Well, that's the trophy that they're playing for, the great
frame.
Stephen Hendry.
Mark Allen.
7 times a world champion, 36 times a ranking titleist. Mark Allen with a spring in his step at the start of this frame before the first interval. Sean Murphy knows he should be leading 2-1. Miss frame ball red. Allen dished up. So Murphy's got to forget about that. Sometimes easier said than done. That disappointment tends to linger beyond the frame itself. The very best, of course, are great at blocking out that kind of setback. Do you have any tools, Ronnie, for swallowing a frame like that when you know you should have won it and you've let it slip away?
Yeah, just go on and win the next 3 or 4 frames. I know it sounds like a bit of a thing, but sometimes you just have to just go, it's first to 10, or is it first to 9 today? I'm going to miss some balls, whether that's in the first frame, the last frame, whatever, but I just back myself to just score well, play good safety, and when it matters, pot a few crunch balls, and then, you know, just see what happens at the end of the match. You know, every now and again you hit a flyer where you just come out the blocks and, you know, you win the final 10-1, 10-2 or whatever. But normally, you know, you have to dig and fight for it. So there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. It's just important to not kind of allow them to affect you so early in the game, really. But the best way to respond, just go in there and win the next one.
And some players are a whole lot more adept at doing that than others. The ones that win the big prizes like this one today. Another great bit of cueing from Murphy, tight to the baulk cushion. Kiss could have been kinder though.
It's absolute wafer. Just a little gap between them.
Tremendous pot. There was some distance there between the two reds. That needed to be deadly accurate. Look at the action he got on the cue ball again. Hi, Paul. So he's third row from the front. As we look at the table to the right, he's sitting next to a guy with a blue top on. He's got a grey sweatshirt.
6.
His accreditation around his neck. Ronnie says he's a 100 break merchant.
7.
Mark Allen's stepson. Not sure of his name though. Cheers, mate.
$14.
I think where these two reds are
50.
that are loose, it's perfect in a way because he can go into the pack, and if he kind of gets the wrong cannon on the red, he's got two options if it does go wrong. So it can't go wrong, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, he's just brought out another one red there, so he now has got 4 reds out in the open.
22.
Gives him 32 points. That'll put him on 55, so still will have to at some point manoeuvre some of the reds in the pack.
24.
How he goes about that, be interesting to see. Has a good angle now. Sometimes it's good to get it done while you have the opportunity. And there you go. There's enough reds in the open for him to seal this frame now. And another added bonus is that he's put a red safe on the cushion, so he has that bit of insurance just in case.
And we talk about
31.
minding your business in this situation. Red's beautifully spread, but we've seen Murphy suffer from a couple of lapses of concentration already, one of which cost him the previous frame, so needs to finish the job here and share the spoils at the interval.
36.
Yeah, with this
37.
opportunity now, I mean, you know, if he wins his frame this visit, he'll be happy at 2 in the interval. He'll be slightly disappointed, thinking, well, I could have been 3-1 up. But when you like you say, you know, you lose a bad frame and then he responds like this, it's quickly put to the back of your mind. So this is an important visit for Sean here.
4. 45. $8. 49. 56.
Well, would you believe it?
Sean Murphy. 56.
Deja vu for Murphy. This has got to be a concern. Relatively straightforward red, once again close to clinching the frame, but not quite. $53 the difference. Still 75 on the table.
I think sometimes he's just so interested in looking so smooth and so good and everything's, you know, and it's lovely to watch. But sometimes you just got to think about potting the ball because if you start to sort of like over look at how you're cueing and, you know, I've hit that one really well, you know, you stop to think about what's actually, you know, what the job is to do, which is to get the ball in the hole. And we all want to cue fantastically well and play every shot well, but it just isn't possible sometimes. And I can only put it down to he gets in that mindset of just enjoying it too much. Sometimes enjoyment has to go out the window and you have to make sure of potting that crunch ball.
Alan, meanwhile, wasn't thrilled with his safety. He wanted that cue ball tight to the cushion. We've seen Murphy clip those in before, but not this time. And it's not a bad table, is it? If Alan can get back in. And he is back in. Great opening red. Now how's the position?
1.
He'll settle for that. Terrific pot. Well, these will be very unpleasant moments now for Shaun Murphy. Although Alan's shaking his head, to lose one frame from the cusp of winning it could be considered unfortunate. 2 on the spin. Incredibly careless.
Yeah. 11.
Just got a glimpse there of Robbie, which is Mark Allen's stepson, and he's a pretty handy player in his own right, Ronnie. There he is on the left of your picture.
Yeah, he's a very good player. He makes century breaks. Mark says he loves to practice, loves the game. So yeah, he couldn't have any better role model than Mark, showing him the ropes. Yeah, so maybe that's a star of the future. There he is, Robbie.
20. Six. 27.
Well, a possible reprieve then for Murphy. Alan must be furious. One good positional shot there, and the frame once again was at his mercy.
Mark Allen, 33.
33, but Alan will be very frustrated that he couldn't punish Murphy there with another frame-winning break. Murphy will be mighty relieved. He's got another crack at this frame, but it's become a big one now. Murphy will feel he should be 3-1 up at the interval. The best he can be is 2 each. 3-1 down would be a real blow.
Yeah, all the pressure's on Murphy now, because he knows he should have been at the interval 2, or at least now having his cup of tea, chilling out, having a chat with Chris, feeling good about himself, know he's cueing well. But now, if he's to lose his frame, that cup of tea's going to taste awful. You know, they're going to have to wonder what's gone wrong. So there's a lot of pressure here on Shaun to make this happen. Not so much pressure on Mark, because he'll be thinking, well, 2 at the interval, I'm happy with that, cueing okay. And he'll be thinking, if I can steal this one, maybe this type of frame come the end of the match could be the point where you say, well, it was a huge turning point.
Very nearly a snooker, but not quite. Full-blooded attempt at the red. And it could have been worse for Allen. That goes in. Looks like 3-1. Ah, that's a great shot.
Some players on the snooker circuit play a game called billiards. It's 3 balls and you have to kind of learn your angles. If he was a billiard player, you'd be coming to the table now and you'd straight away spot it. So I think some of the snooker players tend to use that as part of their practice routine as a way of learning how to get out of snookers. What a shot.
Great snooker, equally good escape. Acknowledged by Murphy. And this frame is taking on increased significance by the shot here. Murphy desperate to get level. He'll feel that's the very least he deserves. But sometimes you don't get what you deserve in this game. And sometimes the balls don't forgive you if you do miss. But that's another good shot to keep the pressure on. And this time the red out in the open. Allen's got to be very careful. Oh, he'll take that. Great hit. And he flukes a snooker back. It's been riveting stuff so far. Started with that brilliant century from Allen. We've had some drama with some missed balls from Murphy in particular, one of which cost him a frame. Another one in this frame, which could yet prove to be very expensive. Snookered again, full ball.
Foul. A miss. Mark Allen, 4.
Foul and a miss, but I don't think this is going back.
One. Six. 8.
He needs up to and including the pink ball.
$11.
But wait. A reprieve for Sean Murphy
11.
when it looked as though Mark Allen was going to pinch another frame. It's very tense, very early in the final. Yeah, good pot.
4.
Wow, what a whirlwind session this has been. He only needs the blue to share the spoils, and I'm sure the emotion will be one of great relief for the former world champion. It could so easily have been a 3-1 deficit when arguably it should have been a 3-1 advantage. So all in all, he'll be happy to be level pegging. A fascinating beginning to our Scottish Open final here in Glasgow. And after 4 eventful frames, nothing to choose between them in the early running. Goodness me, what drama we've already had. How much more have we still got to come here in Glasgow? At the break, Mark Allen 2, Sean Murphy 2.
Arena in Glasgow, our final is well and truly underway. 4 frames have been played and it's honours even, 2-2 between Mark Allen and Sean Murphy. Staying with Q Sports for a moment, a reminder that the Masters is around the corner, live of course from Ali Pali. The week-long event begins on the 13th of January. You can see it all live on Eurosport. I'm of course with the boys, with Neil, with Ronnie and Jimmy. And listen, Neil, we knew it was going to be tight, of course, and it is. You couldn't get any tighter than 2-2. Brilliant start from Mark Allen getting a ton, and then back came Sean Murphy to make it 1-1.
It's been a bit edgy in between though, hasn't it? You know, both players have missed a few, made a few mistakes. And they're evenly matched at the moment, aren't they? I say that. I'd say the games are going in slightly different directions. You know, Mark Allen's been playing brilliantly for a while, and Sean's just playing better again. But there's nothing between them, and it's not a surprise.
No, there was nothing between them after 2 frames, and then on to frame 3, Jimmy, in a big frame as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, massive frame. You know, when you're getting like his pot's this red here. You know, it's just that he's just concentrating on the pot. He's not really thought the white would go anywhere near the middle pocket. It was a big mistake that was. I don't think this is in. Me and Neil said it definitely weren't, and Sean thinks it's in. I think a bit confusing there because it definitely was out. Look, it's definitely not in.
No,
it's definitely always top draw. So big miss there, and then I think either player could have been 3-1 up. It's that, you know, both had chances. So 2 is about right.
And then the last frame before the mid-session, Sean Murphy first at the table, in with a good chance, a good break, and then misses a simple ball, a relatively simple ball to the middle, Ron.
Missing too many easy balls, really. You know, he's got away with it. He's won this frame, but if you do 4 or 5 of them over a match,
56.
you're going to lose, especially playing someone at the top of their game. This Brownie, I just think he got a bit tight on this. You want to just float that in, but he's kind of maybe feeling a bit pressure, maybe not queuing as well and as freely as he was towards the last 2 frames. This was a good Brown, bit of pressure on him, so he just like slips it in nicely, and he'll be relieved, you know, to be 2-all really, Murphy, because you know he could have thrown that one away.
Neil, it's been played in a lovely spirit at the moment because, of course, they're best of cows. When do you think all the laughing and joking stops?
Yeah, well, I hope it does. I think these two are professional enough to know that what they do before the match won't reflect on how they play in it. You know, they're good pals, but you know, chances to win ranking events don't come along every day, and you can't laugh your way through it. You've got to try and win this title tonight.
Okay, 2-2 at the moment. We've got a bit of fun to have on, of course, the practice table. We've been asking you all week to send in your tweets. You've sent them in your thousands. Thanks so much for that, using hashtag #HomeNations. Loads and loads of you have requested to see what Jimmy keeps telling me has been voted shot of the century, and this is a Massey shot which you played, ironically, against Ronnie in Germany in the Premier League. It's quite incredible. So, boys, you can come up to the table as well.
Camera on the queue as well, make it easier, Jim.
This is the end of this cloth, is it?
So, just talk us through it, Jim. What you? It's difficult to do with that.
I'm doing it with the
camera on it.
It's just a Massey. I was just like lucky that, you know, I found the shot and it went out here and then went down there. So it's a difficult shot, obviously. Any Massey is.
Getting a bill from World Snooker if you damage that cloth, Jim.
Yeah.
Aye. Nearly.
No, I must point out, I'm sure you
Nearly.
are aware at home, he's got a camera on the cue, and also he's got a jacket on. And also he's a lot older now. Do not try this
He's
in your
a lot
club.
older now. Thanks, Andy.
Come on, James. Oh, nearly! What a great effort that was. Ron, do you want to go?
Well, not really.
Of course you do.
I can't do this.
That's a
I
great
can't
effort.
do these shots.
Wasn't it?
You
Fantastic.
can do anything.
I'm on the wrong side of the table, eh?
Oh, he
And
is. Yeah, he's right-handed. Yeah.
Play it left-handed.
I can't.
All right.
How do you do that? It's nuts. Good effort.
Flip it over there.
Do you want to do it the other side?
I'll try over there.
Go on, bring him around. Neil, you set up the brown.
Debbie, put the brown there.
Debbie too, I'll let do it.
Right, give us a bit of chalk then.
Debbie.
Cheers. Bloody hell. Even sitting on the table, damn. How do you do this? What am I supposed to do?
Just that's it.
Any side or just...
No, just try and get in.
Let me have another go at that. Nearly. Nah.
Get in there, it's getting there. One more. Go on,
Is it one more?
One more, then we'll give it back to James to do it. Because we've hit every shot this week.
Not easy.
Eventually.
Have we?
Yeah, every shot we've got.
I think I've got to go more this way. No. That's the one.
Go on. Oh, you can get that. Push that one over to... And flick that one over as well.
Got to try and get
as
close.
difficult a shot as you ever seen.
Pass that chalk,
Yeah.
please, Debbie.
You want some chalk,
Ronnie?
Jim?
I told you, it's only Debbie when we're off air, Jim. All right? Come on, James. Do you want to take your jacket off,
Most
James?
difficult shot in the game.
I've got my mic on.
Oh, okay. Getting all technical now.
Oh, nearly.
Come on,
I
we've
think
got
it's
time
on.
to do.
Nearly.
We've got time
on,
to do
Jim.
more.
Make up.
Come on.
on,
This
Jim.
is the one. This is the one.
There's a big hole in there
You
now.
see
It's got a ridge
the
in it.
white, the white just drops into the hole now. Here we go.
Aye. Nearly.
Go on, Jim.
That's a good effort, isn't it?
That count. Good work, James.
effort,
Well
that
done.
Very difficult shot.
And we'll be auctioning off that cloth a bit later on. Right, we're going to have a quick break. When we come back, of course, we've got 4 more frames to be played in this afternoon session. It's beautifully poised at the moment, 2-2 between Mark Allen and Sean Murphy. We'll see you.
He knows what he's doing. Go on, Ron. Oh, it just
that's
didn't
near.
happen, did it?
No,
Well,
it didn't.
if it had been spinning, that would have been perfect.
Is it?
I think you need to chalk, mate.
We only got
I
90
need to
seconds.
chalk, son. So when...
Go on, Jim. What are you going to say? Oh, that had a bit of
can't do
gear
it.
on it.
I can't do it.
Come on, James.
It's not on for me.
You got about a minute left. Oh, you're sitting around the wrong way.
Aye.
Oh, come on.
Seems
Come
quite
on,
the
we've
pink.
got about 40 seconds left, Jim.
Pink on its spot, Andy.
Does it matter?
Debbie.
Debbie.
Come on, this is the last go I'm being told now, Jim. Last go. Do it when it matters. Oh, dear.
Last guy.
Go on, okay, this is the last one. We're going to get in trouble. But it's worth it if we hit it.
Oh.
Look.
Get some gear on
That
it,
would
don't
have
you?
been
Boom.
sweet, wouldn't
Right.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Gentlemen, what's going to happen in the next 4, Ronnie? Is it going to be a repeat of the last 4? Is it going to be honours even?
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I don't think anyone's going to run away with it. But I just slightly... I think Sean's playing more into form, got more in the tank. But I just think if he keeps making a few reckless ones, Alan could just maybe nick it. I think Alan's sort of like on... He's gone to the well so many times that, you know, it's there for Sean to take, really. It's up to him whether he can just put a polished enough performance in.
Jim?
Yeah. I think Mark Allen's better tactical than Sean, you know. But I think Sean is playing more the fluent. So you know, I just think it's going to go to the wire.
Going to the wire is what the boys think. There's only one way to find out, and that's, of course, to stay with us for the next 4 frames of the arm.
Remaining this afternoon, the last final of 2018. Sean Murphy to get us underway again.
Thank you. Frame 5. Sean Murphy to break.
Looking set to go 3-1 down before Mark Allen missed that brown in the 4th frame.
Certainly some nerves in the first 4 frames. Some good snooker, 1 or 2 errors made. Alan started better today than he did yesterday, when he was really poor early on, but knocked in an early century. And as for Sean, well, he started like a train yesterday. Not quite as good this time around. A lot of snooker still to be played in this match.
Yeah, because Murphy was quite significantly in front on their personal head-to-head, 10-4. Allen has won the last 2 meetings, haven't played though for 2.5 years. Allen, of course, is a man in form, but also you could argue maybe if anyone's going to get tired in the match, it's going to be him. Be happy with that one, though.
Yeah, that was a big target, wasn't it? Or certainly an inviting target. Behind the brown and yellow when the baulk colours are so close. Players invariably trying to get in behind them. He was drawn in behind there like a magnet, wasn't it? Should be able to lay up to the left side of the bunch, although we do see this shot occasionally go wrong these days. I always felt it was a big target. Would prefer it not to be touching. It isn't touching. Touching ball would mean he could get right in behind yellow and brown again without having to make contact with the red. Now that wasn't the best. Murphy could exploit that same area to get the cue ball in behind this time. Didn't hit it hard enough. Because he's right about leaving the red that he's not on to the right corner that's there. Now this is a better shot. He's not a snooker, but he's got to be careful if he plays off the side of the bunch. He can push a red near a pocket if you're not careful.
Well, this is a very good exchange.
Safety stats are good for both. Mark Allen just edging it at the moment. Point is, they both know how attacking the other is, and looking to keep each other out. It's been mentioned, good friends, these two. I suspect, though, that will go out of the window as the match progresses. Certainly tonight, if it's close, they won't be thinking about that.
Unfortunate banging noise just as he was bringing the cue ball back to hit there. It was obviously an accident of some kind in the audience. Well, what's he looking at here? I mean, he played a couple of very ambitious plants towards the end of his match last night. The first one he, I think, afterwards admitted was very ambitious, sort of unlikely. Missed it. Second one he also missed, but fluked. Read it up into the top left pocket and won the match from it. This is some kind of combo. If he's thinking about playing a plant, it's really awkward shot. Or is he playing off the red and the black? Well, he likes a plant, doesn't he? He doesn't get many of them, but he likes them.
Yeah, the red that he was trying to pot was a good 6 inches from the pocket. It wasn't hanging in the jaws. Screwing back for a bit of safety, but of course you can't guarantee where balls are going to finish.
There wasn't a very big area to get the cue ball back and around from there. Hit it too thick and the cue ball swung very wide. He's lost that battle. Which means Mark Allen could reap the rewards of it.
Five.
Well, that's okay. He's got there. This is a very good chance
12.
now.
13. Twenty. One.
Well, he's got awkward queuing. Yes, and it's amazing, isn't it? That is the most basic
Mark
black
up.
off the
21.
spot. But because he's queuing awkwardly and he's got a long bridge, it brings about a new reason the shot can go wrong. He would never have missed that if the red wasn't slightly in his way.
One. Eight. Nine.
I don't think he expected this chance at all, actually, because he'd lost the safety battle. Adam was in. He's not played as well as he did yesterday. I felt that Sean Murphy started those 3 frames against Judd Trump last
60.
night. You could not see anything better. Just the way that he got in. It was always going to be hard to maintain that. And of course the match became more interesting when balls were missed later on.
Surprised me though, he said afterwards there was a frame where he missed black off the spot, doubled the pink, missed black off the spot for the frame. And he came in the studio and he said, I'll miss more blacks like that. And I was surprised. I thought he would say, well, I'm really determined not to make that mistake again. I could have sealed the frame
24.
there. So he's almost inviting errors, and there have been a few today. It could come down to who makes the fewer. Of course, in this frame, Mark Allen's Mr. Black hampered.
25.
Yeah, I mean, he lost 4 ranking finals last season, didn't he? So, you know, he done very well to get to the final, but of course, all the leading players would say it's the most disappointing round to lose, is the final. Getting so close but not winning. He finally did win last year against Ronnie O'Sullivan, was the champion of champions. Great match. But it wasn't ranking.
No, his last ranking title was the 2017 Gibraltar Open. This is his 18th final in a ranking tournament. He's looking for his 8th title.
31.
It feels like he's won more than that, but that's because we've seen him winning quite a few tournaments, as Neil mentioned, Champion of Champions, Masters, Premier League, and various others that don't carry ranking points but are prestigious. But of course they don't help your world ranking. Murphy's just slipped back a little to 11th
28.
in recent times.
$39.
A nice and close position on that red. It's going to be hard to win the frame here, though, because clearly
45.
the remaining reds following this one, they're all difficult. Difficult to get on.
46.
Well, you've got to be kidding. That is so unlucky.
Sean Murphy, 46.
That really is. I mean, you push,
Mark Allen,
try and push
6.
the red over a pocket, but if it goes in the pocket, you've almost played the shot too well. That is really unfortunate. Oh dear, that's a dreadful shot.
Foul.
I think the one part of that shot, I think the worst than the in-off was the fact that he pushed the red out away from the other two. You'd have thought that he would have tried to make sure that that red was still blocked by the other two to that right corner. The in-off was not very good either. Both players have made mistakes in this frame as well as the previous. Getting intriguing. Don't know if he tried to flick the top red there or what. I can't think of a way he could possibly get on a red here. Unless he thinks there's a plant. I mean, any other shot, it's hard to comprehend how he could get the reds out.
Blue ball. Sean Murphy, 1.
It's got to be the right shot, I think, to try and get a ball safe because he's a few in front. I know he hasn't quite done it. The pot was just meaningless there. Well, another shot that he would like to be able to play again. It's not an easy red, this, actually. A little bit of the Stephen Hendry re-spotted black in the Masters final about this against Mark Williams, which he missed. It was a bit straighter, but it was not dissimilar.
He was also 9-all in the final, in the decider.
Yeah, it was the final ball, wasn't it, of the tournament. Good shot that, and he crucially only needs the red. And I should think
4.
He's going to drop this in. Getting on a colour is not, or shouldn't be, a big factor in this shot. It's just the red going down.
It's not there. Wow. Just needed the red.
Sean Murphy, 4.
Staring at it in disbelief.
Yes, I'm afraid you really have to pot those, especially when you're doing 0 with the cue ball. I think this would be a painful frame if Murphy ended up losing it. I mean, look at this. It's not so much an easy shot, but, I mean, you can get anywhere near that. Yes, and crucially, the yellow goes to both top pockets, including the right one.
8.
And he's got to sit and hope that he's not costing the frame that shot.
Well, earlier on, Murphy attempted to push the blue safe. It's certainly safer than it was, obviously, on its spot. So we'll see if that plays its part here.
10. $13.
Wow.
70.
He's stumbled upon the double if he wants it, but I certainly didn't play that. He played in behind the blue. Might not play the double here.
Mark Allen.
He'll be annoyed that the last 2 shots were not good. Brown to blue not good, and even that recovering safety shot didn't quite happen. Still there for the taking, this frame.
Well, he glances at the scoreboard, which tells him that if he plots the blue, he's 16 in front with 13 on, having missed the last red for the frame. Yeah, Murphy's so good at those. He'd be relieved. It was an error-strewn frame, really. Gave Mark Allen a chance, but the one good decision he made earlier was putting that blue safe. It did make a difference in the end. And Sean Murphy happy to have the chance to knock it in, which is what he's done. And so for the first time this afternoon, Sean Murphy is leading the Scottish Open final. First to 9 takes the title. He leads Mark Allen 3-2. Welcome back to Glasgow, the final day of the Scottish Open, and Sean Murphy ahead for the first time, 3-2 against Mark Allen. Both players had quite a few chances in that last frame, the longest of the match so far, just under 23 minutes.
Frame 6.
3 more frames to play this afternoon.
Mark Allen to break.
That's what they're playing for. The Stephen Hendry Trophy, named in honour, of course, of Scotland's greatest ever snooker player. The man who won 7 world titles in the 1990s. And a lot more besides. Well, his long potting today has actually been really good. Murphy was 80% prior to that. Shot 8 out of 10, but this did not go in.
Probably playing on Mark Allen's mind that he should have won the 2 frames, the last one before the mid-session interval. Missed a very easy brown, and then it's quite similar the way that the last frame ended, actually. In the end, he should have been there to pick up the pieces and win that one too. Lost them both.
5. 6. 11. 12.
Well, I don't think he meant to be this close to the black, but I think he's got to be careful not to push it. But if he doesn't, it's still on. Just off the near jaw this time. Maybe relieve that one in, because he missed a black like that into the opposite
19.
corner pocket. Hit the near jaw and stayed out, that one.
20.
I think from what we've seen, this is Mark Allen's best chance of winning frames
7.
today, getting in and making breaks. He made 110 first frame. But I think if we get many more scrappy frames, then the danger with him is fatigue might start to set in a bit. You know, this is his 14th match in just over 2 weeks, UK Championship and here. They're big matches as well, high pressure. So if it goes close tonight, that could be an issue. He actually said yesterday he hasn't really treated the tournament with the respect maybe he should have done. He's enjoyed a few drinks here and there. But he's in the final.
Yes, as I've been saying, you know, these opportunities don't come every day to win
36.
ranking events, and he's never won a Home Nations. Whenever the Home Nations has gone to the leg in his native Northern Ireland, he's actually never done himself justice. Here he's in Scotland, seemingly with the pressure off, playing a lot better. I'll tell you what, if he's not on anything there,
38.
it's a surprise. I'm not saying it's a particularly good shot that he's played, although you'd have thought that something would have been available in there. The reds are quite loose here. Hitting anything like that red full ball, the one that he didn't hit half ball, would have left him on a choice of reds. It's the one place right in the middle there where nothing seems to be on. Well, it's going to be the plant. The reds have got a bit of distance between them. Played it well.
39.
Halfway to recovering it, and this blue would completely recover the situation. Two good shots in a row. Very good. The blue actually
44.
jumped a little there. This is where he's such a good player. International Championship final, the afternoon session, where he went 7-1 up over Neil Robertson. Over in Daxing in China, he played just almost unstoppable snooker for about 5 frames. It seemed to, wherever the balls were, he was going to keep the break going. And he did. He was just
52.
Amazingly good. Very
53.
capable of having spells where he's devastating.
Well, red and the black, and it should be 3-3. It's his 10th ranking final of his career, but of course his 3rd in just over a month. So it's a real purple patch.
61.
And maybe that's what will count for him. What might count against him, I mentioned his fatigue, but what might count for him is he's got the confidence in his game. He knows it's there from recent tournaments. Whereas Murphy, of course, is looking for his first title in just over a year. Just seems likely to be a close match, this, all the way. This is good from Alan. Good response, having failed to
74.
Clear up in that last frame when Murphy missed the last red.
75.
Just flicked the red, wanted to avoid it.
82.
Well, hopefully no one's hurt in the front row.
Foul.
The break ends
Mark
at
Allen
82.
Sean Murphy 4. Frame, Mark
That's
Allen.
more than enough to give Mark Allen the 6th frame, and we're all square again in this Scottish Open final. That was a quick kill, just 7.5 minutes that frame. And we're level in Glasgow at 3 frames. So it's 3-3, and there's 2 frames left to be played here this afternoon. Mark Allen made 82 in frame 6. Sean Murphy's highest break so far, 56 in frame 4. Hasn't yet played as well as he did at the start yesterday evening against Judd Trump. Those first 3 frames were just sensational. He left a chance there from the break off, but Mark Allen unable to knock it in. Allen not quite firing from long distance so far today. 33% on long pot success.
Yeah, the shot that Murphy's faced with here, though, is quite awkward. With he's got the cue between the yellow and the red. Slight distraction. That's such a good shot.
1.
That really was good striking. Look at that. Is he on one? Body language suggests not.
5.
Not one into the left corner anyway. There's a lot of luck involved on that shot. I mean, you couldn't really hit it much better. Well, this is about like the black that he missed yesterday. In one of the frames against Judd, it was the final black and he overcut it. It was something like this.
$13.
I think he's hit this well. He ends up on a red, actually, but not quite the one he wanted.
All Sean Murphy ever wanted to do as a boy was play snooker, and that's still all he wants to do. He hasn't become jaded
90.
by the grind of being on tour. If he gets knocked out of tournaments, he's invariably at home watching them. He said at the Crucible when he went as a boy to watch, he once chased Steve Davis down the street to get his autograph. Later, of course, played him there, beat him there.
20.
Of course, to get Steve's autograph these days, you have to go to one of his late night DJ sets, which is what he's doing now, the Nugget.
That's not bad at all, actually. Quite cleverly played. Plain ball, that's all it was, but the red on the left is the one he wanted to get on, simply because the black to the right corner is available. And looking at another shot ahead. If he could, the red that's just to the right of the black would be the one to get on now. And all of a sudden, the whole frame is opened up.
$34. 35. 42.
Well, he's disturbing reds here, pulling that one.
$43.
He might even look at the black, but it'd be a thin one. Well, he's not looking at the pot on the black, I don't believe. He could just put the cue ball, you know, underneath the black cushion. I mean, why would you not just do that and contain for a shot? He's got a good little lead. He's not going to do anything adventurous. If you're not going to play a pot, keep things simple. If he's worried about leaving a red by playing a shot into bulk, doesn't have to go into bulk, basically.
Yellow ball.
Well, it looks okay. I don't know if he's left any sighting of that left-hand red. And even if he had, it wouldn't be easy.
Down to one table here at the Emirates Arena, course started out with what felt like a cast of thousands on Monday. It was in fact 128 in the draw. 8 tables. I think if you can survive down to Friday when the quarterfinals start, you really fancy your chances in these Home Nations events. Before then, it's a bit of a scramble with all the best of sevens. But it's been a very interesting week. Of course, we had a maximum from John Higgins, who at the moment is in line for £22,000. And despite a few upsets, and of course Ronnie withdrew as well, we've ended up with 2 real big hitters in the final here.
He's worried about the left-hand red, so this time he's considering playing safe from that red. Moving it. But he could also play the cue ball down the right-hand side of the table, down towards the green pocket. It's quite a dangerous shot he's playing here, but getting in behind the yellow turned out to be a good shot. So, can't really argue with that, can you? Covered a number of reds.
Well, I think he's been a little fortunate. Certainly to leave the cue ball where it is.
Well, it could be a good shot, but there is a chance that he's left one red on.
One.
No possible counter-attack here from Mark Allen.
Eight.
As you can see, he's polyed 12 more balls so far. His two best frames, though, were the two he got in early and made the big breaks. 110 frame 1, 82 frame 6. Murphy, I guess, has edged most of the scrappier ones. These are the total points. Allen in front.
$60. Okay. 70.
Well, as you can see, the red at the bottom of that little bunch of four is potable, and he certainly nudges into the other reds here, running through, putting them all in play.
25.
His close control is very good.
$32. $33. $40.
Well, he's looking at, I mean, he's three behind, three reds left. I mean, there's nothing he can do about not needing yellow and green, as far as I can see. He'd like to just be in a position where he could win the frame without the more difficult balls coming into play, but he can't. Just keep going, I think, for a bit longer, and then cross that bridge when you come to it. Further down the line, certainly yellow to get to green will not be an easy shot under any circumstances. But it's gettable all the same. There's an example of his cue ball control. Look how close in behind that red he's finished.
48. 49.
And this time, a little shy of position. So if you can just drop this in and hold for the red. That's a lovely touch. Better shot than it looked, you know. Easy to see that cue ball going onto a side cushion with all the pace on these quick
56.
tables.
$57.
So does he land in behind the yellow? Or does he try and knock the yellow into play? Tried to knock it out. Now he's got to play a good safety shot. Frame is still live.
64.
Yes, Mark Allen has made the 3 highest breaks of the match so far, but he's not yet won this frame. He leads by 21, there's 27 on. And the yellow is the only safe ball.
I always think if ever you're in doubt what to play, make sure one thing, and that's to get the object ball safe. Whatever fancy shot you try, that's got to be priority.
Mark Allen, 64.
Nice break, but yet to clinch the frame. Well, can he play that shot where he gets the cue ball in behind the blue and the black, pushing the yellow up the table? It's going to need a bit of right-hand side, but I'm not sure how easy that shot would be on these quick tables. He has to avoid the double kiss on the yellow in playing it. Pretty well played. And so is that.
Foul. And a miss.
Oh, this is a free ball.
And a free ball. Mark Allen, 4.
It's bad news for Sean Murphy. The green counts 2, which will put him 27 in front with 27 on.
Green ball.
And a very nice gap between the blue and the black.
Four. Seven.
Three snookers.
Mark Allen.
Murphy's got his arms folded. He's coming back. If he could get the chance to pot the brown, it's 2 to tie on the blue. And Mark Allen will have to wait to be in front. He laid a good snooker to force the opening, the free ball. He fully expected to be in a tough snooker there, Alan, but he's not. I don't think you could say the player are right at the top of their game, but it may be that this is just about jostling for position this afternoon, and his traditional fireworks come at the end of the night.
4.
So he has potted the brown, and as I say, it's 2 to tie on the blue.
Sean Murphy, 4.
He got very close to the in-off there. About as close to the in-off as he did the pot.
There was a chance to get one, albeit not easy. And getting a couple of snookers to tie on the blue like this, I mean, you can't think of all that many occasions something would have happened so late in a frame. Now, well, it's even more difficult to get 2 snookers on the pink and black. Got a chance to get him behind the black here, though. No good. His frame is
Sean Murphy,
as good as over.
Frame refuses to end.
Get the feeling that, assuming that this does go to Mark Allen, that if you could nick a little 5-3 lead into tonight, that would be a handy lead, because there's not much between them on the afternoon. A few shots here or there. Murphy has potted better at range. Allen has scored better in the balls.
Bit of bants between the players. Well, I think Murphy's just going to stay where he is, because that pink can only really go in from there. A seesaw battle in Glasgow with 1 frame to play in this opening session of the Scottish Open final. Mark Allen leads Sean Murphy 4-3.
Thank you. The final frame.
Immune to the old trophy himself, of course, but this Scottish Open trophy is in his name. who's going to win it. It's a close battle, this, with one frame left in the opening session. Mark Allen 4-3 in front of Sean Murphy. Never been more than a frame in it, but as Neil says, if he can win this one, then he's got that little cushion coming back this evening. I think, interestingly, he has made the three highest breaks, 110, 82, 64. Murphy's best 56. So Murphy not clinically killing frames off. Not finding his scoring boots yet, but there's still plenty of time.
Played that well, covered up the main bunch of reds by the green. Quite a big target to lay into them here.
Touching ball. Sorry, Sean.
Oh, has you left a red? I don't know. He looked at the red to the right corner. It's very near. Cube 1 object ball. He's playing something else. I'm not surprised.
It's not been a long match, this. 2 hours playing time, the average frame time, just over 16 minutes. Four weeks today, Mark Allen will start the defence of his Masters title at Alexandra Palace against Luca Brissell, who he beat in the first round last season. But even Barry Hearn allows the players Christmas week off. That said, actually, the first tournament of 2019 starts on New Year's Day, the Championship League in Coventry.
could be a re-rack here. Neither player are going to attempt anything flashy because the red in bulk is the reason. No one's going to go anywhere near that. I suspect these are going to get racked up shortly. I think he'll just drop into the bunch again. Well, unless he does like a plant. Does he? Look at another one now. Well, he's trying to break the deadlock here, I think, by playing the red up the table that's causing all these safety shots in the first place. So it won't now be a re-rack. Quite a good shot. He had to avoid the two reds by the blue on the way back up, which of course he could have gone into, which would have been no good to him. Slightly subdued ending, I should say, to this session, although this frame's pretty important, actually. I expect both players to come out all guns blazing tonight. Well, this has really got to go some. I think he's worried that if he plays it and hits it too firmly, pushes the red over the middle. You could let him have another crack at that one.
Greg Caniglo is the referee for this final. And Rob Spencer is helping him, I was going to say assisting him on the marker's desk with the freeze frame. There we are, just a slight adjustment needed.
Yes, the crucial part is, though, Dave, is that you can see a red full on, as you can witness there to the left of the pink. So if he doesn't get this shot the second time, then the third time he'll be playing different to this. He's got more speed on it. That's fine. Well done.
Yeah, just on the officials, you know, we talk about players being tired, and of course they're asked to perform to a very high level under pressure, but these tournaments rely on a lot of people backstage, the referees like Greg, tournament directors like Mike and Martin and their team, Paul Collier here as well, and they do it all the year round, and it's a long old grind flying around the world. It seems glamorous, but they're working all the time, so as we approach the end of the year, I think we should convey our thanks to them. And that includes the table fitters as well, who do such an important job.
test of his cueing, and usually someone like Sean Murphy will pass those tests. That time he never really threatened. Given a chance back as well.
One. Six. Seven. $11.
Well held. Pink to the right corner.
12.
It's early stages of it being a good chance, but there are a few ways it could become a very good chance. If he could get on the red somewhere below the black somehow, then black would be available to both corner pockets. Might try and do that off this next blue that he's going to be playing on from this red. He can either go into the bunch or play on that loose red.
19. $24. 25.
Probably the shot of the frame is the next one. How it develops when he pots this red, if he gets it. How many reds he develops and whether he gets on the colour. That's very good. Now all of a sudden things have really opened up. And it's a frame winning chance.
Yeah, and I go back to what I said earlier. Alan is scoring more heavily in this final, and I think that's going to be significant in a long match. This frame's not over yet, but Murphy will be looking to up his scoring this evening. His highest break so far, just 56, Sean Murphy. Bearing in mind the barrage he hit with Judd Trump with early on last night in the semi-final.
$48. 49.
Mark Allen, who began the year winning the Masters, can he end it winning this Scottish Open to bookend his most successful year as a professional? Of course, he won the International Championship as well, runner-up in the UK Championship. Nice little cannon to stay on this red.
56. 57.
Black puts him 60 in front. 75 on.
Yes, and as you say, he's on the brink now of
64.
winning this frame. Just a little bit more to do.
$65.
Obviously, the fact that he's playing on the blue and in behind his next red means that when he does pop this, Murphy can still win the frame if that chance ever arose. He'd need all the colours, all the reds with all blacks. So, just a glimmer.
$70.
Just a glimmer for him. Frame's not dead yet. Might have tried to get the black safe there.
Mark Allen, 70.
He's been scoring pretty well actually this afternoon, you know. A series of 60, 70, 80, 100 breaks. Telling contributions. Had a very bad first 4 frames yesterday, Mark Allen, against Daniel Wells. I don't think we've ever seen him play worse. But he's overcome all that. He's been better, won that match, and played well this afternoon without being at his brilliant best. Once again, Mark Allen doing everything he can to get the black safe. Just nudging it nearer the cushion all the time. Don't know if he can get to the thinnest of edges to pot it. Don't think so. It's made him think. I think it's a good shot, actually. Pushed red safe, cue ball under the cushion. I think he's made himself an even stronger favourite there with that last shot.
Well, that's not worked out for Murphy because he's tied up the black with the pink. So that makes it even harder now. He needs blacks with all the reds.
Almost a situation, if you were Mark Allen, you wouldn't even mind leaving him a red now because you can't get on the black whatever he does. So if he pots it, he weakens his chance. And this should be enough. Even if he went in off field, I don't think it would matter.
1.
Well, Mark Allen has made the highest breaks, the 4 highest breaks of the match, and that's been significant. I think he started with 110. He's made 82, 64, 70 in this frame. Murphy's playing on, but it's going to be a tall order where pink and black are. There you see the predicament he's in. Just flick the pink away slightly, but still difficult this, not least because he's left another red on.
Yes, and if this goes in, Murphy will probably let him finish the break, but we'll head off for the end of session. And there's still a lot to play for here, you know. I mean, 5-3 Mark Allen is by no means over. It's a good lead, but not an unassailable lead.
Yeah, there've been a few errors, but as ever in a big final, when we head into the final session, the question is who's going to stand up to it. They're both capable. They're both big tournament winners.
7.
Mark Allen has the more recent form. Maybe you could argue Murphy is a bit fresher, but Mark Allen is a great competitor, as he's shown here this afternoon, and he's got the edge.
12.
Fell short a week ago in York to Ronnie O'Sullivan. Will it be his week in Glasgow?
12.
He's going to come back tonight with a 2-frame lead. He started with a century. As I say, he was the heaviest scorer of the 2 in this session. And he's got the slight advantage, but Sean Murphy is within touching distance, and it sets up a fascinating final session this evening. The last final of 2018, the Scottish Open, and at halfway, it's Mark Allen leading Sean Murphy 5-3.
Tight affair before the match started. What did you make of the first 8 frames?
Yeah, I think it was a fair result, really. 5-3. Mark Allen played. Just looked strong, you know, scoring the better breaks. Looks much more up for it today than he did in his semi-final, and I think, you know, it's going to take some stopping now. You know, 5-3 up, used to winning. He'll be really excited about tonight. I don't think he's going to flinch or think, oh, I'm near the winning line. I think he's going to enjoy tonight and play, you know, like a champion does.
Jimmy, how will Sean Murphy be feeling? Because obviously he'll be disappointed he's behind at the moment, but maybe in his mind he'll be thinking he's not done enough to lead anyway. He's only made 2 50 breaks, a couple of 40s as well. His highest break's 56. So he's obviously getting in, but he's not finishing the frames off, is he?
Yeah, he's not scoring heavy enough, and he's losing most of the safety battles as well. Mark Allen just seems to be bossing it at the moment, and I think Murphy's got to come out now and really turn it on, really take the game by the scruff of the neck and win some frames in one visit.
Mentally, is that something that sticks in your mind if you are getting chances but not taking them, Ronnie?
Yeah, but he does that quite a bit, you know, missing on 40s and 50s and frame balls. You see, this was a frame ball. He eventually won the frame, but you know, if you like doing 5 or 6 of these over a long period, over a long match, and you're going to lose like 2 or 3 of them frames because of balls that you should just make sure you put away,
41.
Then, you know, that's going to be the difference between winning and losing, you know. So, you know, you might get away with it in 2 or 3 frames, but if you don't in 2 or 3 other frames, you're going to get punished for them. So, you know, that's why he's behind, really, you know.
I'm guessing your opponent feeds off that as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, sure. You know, Mark Allen has been winning a lot more lately as well, so he's used to it. He doesn't look under pressure. He knows exactly what he's doing there. He's more clever of the 2 with the tactical side, and he's scoring heavier. So Sean Murphy really has to up his game for me.
Let's look back at some of the key frames over the last 4. Actually, we'll start with the first one after the mid-session, frame 5. Sean won it, but he was unlucky with this, wasn't he?
Yeah, you know, okay, you know that you can play that shot 10,000 times and never get that. He's come underneath it and knocked it in.
Sean Murphy,
a bit unlucky,
46.
but he still won the frame. This, you know, that was never going to drop, you know, and he was stretching a bit there. And, you know, at the end, he gets the long blue, Murphy, you know, but as Ronnie said, you know, you should, when you have these chances, you've got to put them away early doors, you know.
Mark Allen took the next one with a break of, 82, and then a great long red from Mark Allen in the next one, Ronnie.
Yeah, he was, you know, behind by 40 odd here, struck this beautifully, you know, still where the white just stopped and then come back. So that's a sign of cueing well. Cut back black into a blind pocket, held it nice for the red. You know, he's playing like some good stuff here. This snooker on the yellow, uses the black as a stopper, gets the white nice and tight behind the green, and like you say, you know, it's not just about making breaks. It's like when it gets to the nitty gritty, you know, just getting the upper hand in the safety, and he's done that, and he just dollies the pink in. Already the frame's won.
Let's look at the last frame before, of course, the players have broken. It's really sort of story of the match so far, isn't it?
Well, me and Ron thought he should have played the other red there because he's just leaving everything in. You know, that's a bit crazy. But Mark Allen here just showing his cue ball control. We like this one, Ron, don't we?
Cannon was lovely because you've only got half a red to go at. So, you know, you don't really like playing him shots. You've got to be so accurate, and he got it lovely.
Yeah, he's all about good percentage here. He's all more or less, he's not quite won the frame, but the pink and black safe there just knocks a long red in there and puts the brown safe. Sort of, for me, he's had the upper hand most of the match because he could have been 3-1 up, Mark Allen, as well. And so he's won the next session 3-1, so we'd be delighted.
I enjoyed listening to you, actually, Ron, when we were sat on the couch watching the snooker. You were talking about how impressed you were with Mark Allen with his little touches around the black spot when he's putting the black onto the reds and nudging him out. And he's got lovely cue ball control around there, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's probably, him and Ding are probably the best at playing them type of little cannons, you know. They just hit one ball and they get the perfect cannon. It's like getting a cannon. But if you leave yourself a wrong angle, then you've got to go into the pack and up for the blue. Well, they kind of get the right side of it, so they're always staying around the black. So he's a really compact, neat type of player, you know. And what he lacks for in cue power, which Murphy has abundance of, he makes up for with his touches and his nudges. And I'd rather have the touches and the nudges. So when you're in the business end, where you score the points, that's where I want to be a 10 out of 10. Allen's a 10 out of 10 in that. So what he lacks in, you know, maybe not being able to screw back the length of the table, he's making, you know, the breaks that, you know, get you the silverware and the winning checks.
Yeah, if he does have a weakness at the moment, it's obviously not round the black spot. His long pot success, he's only 38%. Would that be a worry for him or not?
Not really. He's 5-3 up in the game where he did pot a real good long one. He went and made 80 odd when he was 43 behind, so that's all he'll be thinking.
When you're scoring 70s and 80s like he has done, you end up putting pressure on your opponent. So Murphy's long game, you see there that long red he's took on. I mean, we call that the plumb-in shot, you know. He's like leaving him plumb-in every time. So it doesn't matter if his long potting's no good. If Murphy's just going to keep leaving you in, you're going to go, lovely jubbly, nice little 70, thank you very much.
Shop open.
I'll send you me 10% from winner's check in the post.
Shop open.
You both thought, as did a lot of people, including your folks, it was going to be really tight. Have either of you changed your view?
It is tight. It's 5-3, you know. It's not a massive amount. Well, it could be 4-all.
Well, yeah, but, you know... I just think, you know, Murphy can't keep leaving Allen these chances. He's got to make Allen try and earn some of these chances. He just, like, keeps going for these balls. It's okay if they're all going in, but they're not going in and they're not so much value. He's just going to pick him off.
Murphy will know he's not playing well. Do you just forget that? Do you now just have a break, couple of hours off, go back on the practice table and try and forget about what's happening in the first session or not?
He's been playing well. He's playing well all week. You know, he's still cueing well. He's just kind of like... You know, it's a different match today. You know, Mark Allen's putting pressure on him, and sometimes you just can't leave someone plumb in. You know what I mean? You've got to go, all right, I fancy the pot, but you know what? If I miss this, you know, I'm likely my opponent's going to clear up. So you've got to go Selby, you've got to go John Higgins, you've got to go Mark Williams, you've got to, like, adapt that into your game sometimes. You know, we're talking about a final. We're not talking about a first round where you don't know whether your opponent's playing well. He knows how well Mark Allen's playing. You've got to show him that respect. Don't leave him plumb in. You know, if he's going to get in, make him work for it. So if you make Mark Allen work for it, at least when he gets a chance, he thinks, I need to make the most of this chance. And then there's a bit of pressure on him to score. Whereas if you're leaving him plumb in, he's going to think, well, you know, I'm scoring well. I know Sean's going to leave me in at some point. Just sit back and just let him make it easy for me.
So do you think that's something he's got to change then in the last session?
I think he's got to change it for his career more than anything, you know, because he's, you know, a great player, great scorer. But, you know, if he wants to know where he's going wrong, then for me it's just kind of like, you know, he leaves opponents in far too often where the balls are absolutely beautiful. You know, if there's 3 reds on the cushion and you think, well, if I miss, it's a miracle clearance, it's a different ball game. But, you know, you've got to start weighing up the percentages sometimes, you know. Maybe watch what Ken Doherty does or someone like that, you know. You've got to kind of, you know, everyone can pop balls and score. You know, it's just timing sometimes, you know.
Would that be the job of Chris Henry, do you think, Jimmy? Because I imagine sometimes you just can't see what's in front of you, can you?
Well, I think, you know, as Sean has said, that he's been struggling the first 8 months of the season, so, you know, he'd be delighted to come here, but he still sort of hasn't changed. How the game is going, like live play, you'd feel his corner man would say, look, you know, let him earn. Let him win the safety battle to get in. You know, refuse a couple because, you know, there's not a lot of frames to go. There's only 8 frames there. Why not tighten it up a bit?
But there's another side of it. If you are going to play safe, you've got to play good safety, because if you're only going to play mediocre safety, that's probably just as bad. So, you know what I mean? Like Ray Ridden said to me, if you're going to play safe, make sure it's a good one. Otherwise, just leave him in, because that's what you're doing, basically.
Just quickly as well, can you see anything changing in the evening? Can you see maybe Mark Allen having a bit of a wobble or not?
No, I don't think so. I think he's a complete player now. I think since he's won the Masters, And the way he played in the international and in the Champion of Champions, one of their matches against Neil Robinson, I just think he's got such good cue ball control and self-belief. I don't think he has a wobble up at all.
Okay, boys, for the time being, thanks as always. We're at the halfway stage, of course, in the final, and we play to a finale later on tonight. It's 5-3. Mark Allen needs 4 more to be champion. Obviously, Sean needs 6. You can see how it unfolds all live right here on Eurosport and on Quest from 6.